Dear Claire and I have been recording a tribute CD to our friend Richard Rodney Bennet, and it's an orchestral jazz CD, mostly of a number of his jazz songs as well as his favorite songs that he used to play and sing. And it's Claire as his former singing partner, and me as his friend and two-piano partner at one time. It's our tribute to him.
It truly is, because this year sadly marks the 10th anniversary of us losing Richard. So it's timely, and we were lucky enough to do this with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra and a fantastic jazz trio that I worked with, Rob Barron and Jeremy Brown, Matt Skelton. So we had all the elements that Richard had, which was he could straddle the classical and the jazz. You know, he was a real Renaissance man, wasn't he, really?
Indeed. I first met Richard when we moved to New York in the early 90s. I'd gotten to be friends with Leonard Rosenman and some other film scorers in LA, and when we got to New York, another composer, Bud Baslon, had a dinner party and brought Richard because he knew that Richard, Robbie, and me would be fast friends, and we were sort of best buddies from then on.
I met Richard when I was he'd gone to look at a space in Glasgow, a concert room, and next to the concert room, but in the building was this tiny jazz bar, and I was singing in that after he'd seen this space, and he came walking into the jazz bar for a vodka, and I was singing, and I met him at the bar after that, and we really did become friends straight that night. And he recalls it and says, "Oh, she was singing with a tiny, weeny little miniskirt on," and I remember and I thought, no, I wasn't. He's added that bit. But yeah, so that's how I met him. It was early 90s.
Well, we were just talking about how we met each other, and it was years, probably 25 years ago, in Richard's apartment. And I came bounding up there, as I often did, and Claire was in residence. And
staying there, yeah.
And they did a little recital-ette for me up in the studio upstairs.
We did. I think it was the first time I was playing at the Algonquin with Richard, and Scott's coming by, and up came Scott, and he just sort of sat there, and we did an afternoon matinee for him. It was quite sweet.
It was great, as I sat on that terrible twin bed with the broken down mattress. So in 2016, I think it was, I orchestrated 4 of Richard's own jazz songs for the BBC Concert Orchestra and did it in a tribute broadcast for Richard. And so we had a nice start there, but then we went from there to the songs that he loved to play and sing, and it seems the songs that were most personal to him.
And also, it still amazes me that because I was his singing partner for about a dozen years, some people still don't know that Richard actually sings or sang, and so singing a few of those songs over the last couple of days is particularly poignant because I can still hear him in my head singing them, see him. Mostly at the Pizza on the Park, we would do these songs. And lots of people have, know him for classical music. John Wilson has done some recordings of Richard's more classical symphonies and pieces. So this is for us a bit more personal for Richard. Songs he wrote with Franklin Underwood and also with Johnny Mandel and Joel Siegel, and songs he loved to do like Autumn in New York, which is New York for me. When I hear that song, it's Richard. So it's very, very personal.
And also we went through any number of songs from the trunk that he and Franklin had written, and because he wrote over the course of his career a lot of jazz songs, and we wanted to pick the best of them and bring some light to them, because people should know these songs. They're delightful.
I think he'd be really tickled with the one from 1987 that he wrote with Franklin called Don't Play Games with Love, because I wish he'd told me about that, because I'd have been doing it with him, so it was quite a gem. I'll be doing that with my band.
Yes, very much. my starting point with most of these arrangements is to listen to his 1, 2, or 3 recordings of whatever the song it is, and do takedowns of his particular harmonies and voicings. And he's actually the only person I ever studied orchestration with. So we used to sit in his studio while I was orchestrating in pencil the Duke piano concerto that he found for me. And so, as I'm orchestrating, I still hear Richard saying, if you're going to use the piano with an orchestra, just have it play really high or really low. Don't bother with anything else. And, he was always about practical suggestions. I mean, and about clarity. Anything that's not clear is a waste of time, which is a waste of money. Oh.
Yeah, I do. For me, I've got 2 favourite ones. The great arrangement that Scott's done for Autumn in New York, the Vernon Duke, is just... when the orchestra was swirled, I was on a cloud. It was amazing. I didn't want it to end. And then the one we did today, the last one actually, I Wonder What Became of Me, just as a duo, because I asked Richard what his favourite song was often, and he would always say that one probably. So that's those 2. Can I have 2?
It's a bit hard for me to pick a favorite, but I'm really pleased with those. I was also really pleased that we were able to do a cover of I Watch You Sleep, which was the love theme from Yanks, the film Yanks, and our friend Joel Siegel wrote the words, and Shirley Horn, who Richard just thought was God on earth, did a really lovely recording of it, but it's not particularly well known as a song, so I'm so glad we were able to cover that as well.
Yeah, I agree. That was the epic one, wasn't it? That one. Stunt Records, who are a Danish company. They're fantastic. I've worked with them before. Absolutely brilliant. They're going to hope for a spring release for this album, and hopefully we can do some concerts and do the music live, because I don't want to not do them again. It was so nice.
It's heaven. The last few days are heaven.
I think that's it. Yeah? That's a wrap.
Heaven.
I won't be alone now. I'm early.
I had that in college, I think.
Just make sure the cameras are running.
I remember when I stayed at Joel's and I found his crab comb.
That's... Sorry.